Welcome to our first show review. I'm Justin,
What is up? I'm Logan.
and together we're Couch Talk. So today we're going to be reviewing the full series of Inuyashiki, which full series is only 11 episodes. Woo, long! Uh, uh, if you've been with us throughout this each episode review, you know we've loved it. So we're finally going to talk about it. If you want a spoiler-free version, it's fantastic. Go watch it. That's it. All right, we're going to be jumping into full spoilers and everything from here on out. Uh, so we're in a brief description of Inuyashiki. It's about an old man. We call him Inuyashiki. That's his name.
Right.
And a young kid named Hiro, who both get hit by some aliens in the first episode and transform into basically robots that have the power to destroy the world.
Right. It's pretty much a two-character story and about how a similar event drastically changed who they are, like, completely. And both their paths are complete opposites. So you have Hiro, who is kind of like a edgy little teenager who becomes this supervillain and kills people to feel alive, pretty much. And then you have the opposite end of the spectrum, Inuyashiki, who is a nice old grandpa man. Well, he's about the age of a grandpa, but he's a dad, and his kids are young.
Well,
But
he's like 50, but looks like he's 80.
he looks old. But he's the complete opposite. He's like, I'm gonna save people. Like, it makes me feel like a human. So it's a very interesting, like I said, two character like story of how one event just took two opposite turns for two characters.
And yeah, it just basically tells their individual stories throughout the end until we get the final conflict. Um, so I guess we're going to break this review down a little bit into like sections, kind of like what you'll see on my anime list and other areas. So the characters is how we're going to start. Obviously, we talk about Hiro and Inuyashiki, but the depth between these two characters, because they are the main focus, is really incredibly well done. Especially seeing how they change as individuals throughout. You got Inuyashiki, who, like Logan said, feels he's alive when he's saving people, and you basically get this whole story arc that ends with him finally finding his purpose in life, which he felt like he never had.
Right.
And the emotion you get behind these characters is just incredible. Some of these episodes, I almost broke down crying. Uh,
The characters, in my opinion, were the show's strongest attribute, I guess you could say. Like, there wasn't really any main character. There was the two, and everyone else was, I guess you could count Ando as a kind of a third, but everyone else was a side character. The main focus was just the two, but it did such a great job of introducing them, how they were like before the change, and then their growth as they were these robots, you could say. Like, Hiro was like, he was just a regular old high schooler that loved that loved One Piece.
Yeah, he loved One Piece.
But then he kind of got contorted into this twisted evil person, yet in his mind he was doing it for people he loved, and he didn't realize how messed up it was until much later. In
so
fact,
they do a really good job of like getting you to sympathize with the villain at times, and then also like trying to read the redemption he has towards the end.
right.
When he decides to sacrifice himself to save. Well, he was only doing it to save two people, but in the end, it saves a lot more.
Right. But then you have Inuyashiki, who his character arc's just as good. He feels like a worthless old man, but he develops into this pretty much a superhero who turns and saves everyone. He finally earns the respect of people around him. My favorite moment that was super emotional, at the very beginning of the anime, he asked, "Will they cry for me if I die?" And then at the very end of the anime, yeah, his family. At the very end, he had to sacrifice his life to save everyone, and of course his family cried for him because like he turned into such an important piece to them because before they kind of just were all rude to him.
Yes, that's kind of what I was talking about. Like the other characters that are in the show, like his family, Mari, who has the great development. She was the only one of the family that really had a development. In the beginning, she kind of came off as like just not like a good person.
She was like
Uh,
snobby.
yes, that's it. And then towards the end, she actually finally built a connection with Inuyashiki, and
Right.
she actually started coming out as like a good character. She was a good person, like, and they developed her. Um, to be fair, his son was a really weak character. They didn't really do anything with him.
Right.
Um, I don't even think they ever said his name once throughout the anime because they're like, this kid's a little piece of shit. Uh,
They may have said it once, but I did not remember it.
it was like Takahashi or something like
Yeah.
that. Takahashi. From when we looked it up. Other side characters like the couple in episode 2 or 3. Uh, they
Three,
did really
I
good
think.
jobs of just telling the stories of like the side characters. The couple that Inuyashiki saved, or the
Right.
yeah, uh, like they just did a really good with every character except for the son, and I feel like the wife they didn't really do a good job with.
Right.
So those would be like the only negatives on the characters.
I agree.
Um, the story, obviously we've been talking a lot about the story here, about how incredible the arcs were with the characters. You just
Right. The
the
characters and the story kind of go hand in hand since it was
about
basically
the
a
characters.
story about two characters. Which I mean, you could say that for every anime, but this is like specifically like the whole anime is focused on how they change and what they become.
Yeah, like every episode was about one or the other, or they showed like a little bit of both. Um,
Right.
so there were episodes where you would have one character and not the other main character at all because they were developing him out, and that's just how the story went. Now there was kind of a lack of plot, I guess. Um,
Yeah. There was well, like I said, it's just it wasn't like a other anime where like here's the good guys, here's the well, it was kind of like that. But it wasn't like, oh, here's the main character. This is his goal throughout the entire anime. This anime is like, here's two people. They're going completely opposite directions, like as characters, but they're slowly about to collide in the story just because one obviously is good and one is bad.
um, I was gonna say something and it slipped my mind. Oh well. Uh, so yeah, so they just did a great job with story. I don't know if there's too much to really delve into it. So what we talked about
Right.
already.
Yeah, just the story. It's kind of hard to explain exactly what I mean by like it's a story just about characters, but like yeah, hopefully hopefully people understand.
Sound. Do you wanna?
Sound, all right. First of all, this opening is so damn hype. I love this
And Logan's
opening.
been singing it like constantly, and by singing it, I mean yelling "Hit me on the ground" over and
That's
over.
the only words I know.
Because that's in English. That's the only word we know.
The
So
okay,
very catchy.
first of all, when it comes to sound, I always have an opinion about the opening because just in anime in general, the opening is a part of the anime. You know, like I feel like they're kind of just connected by.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Um, I remember what I was gonna say earlier. The it slipped my mind again. No, I'm joking. The characters are very realistic. I wanted to point out. So, I really liked how all the conversations were just quite realistic. But
We're
anyway,
on
back to
sound
sound.
now.
Uh,
It's too
yeah, I
late.
thought the sound was fine. Like for me, here's like sound and animation, which I know a lot of people like give scores to. To me, those are never really negatives. They're bonus points because I just kind of like expect them to be there and fine.
That
Like
makes
we
sense.
talk about sound and animation all the time, Hatsuke no Yome, because they take the effort to like basically shove it down you and like this is how incredible you are. So they'll get like the bonus points, but everyone else is just kind of like, for me, it's just
I see what you're
it's
saying.
there.
If the
It
sound
does.
didn't,
It's not. It's gonna be. If it stands out, I'll notice it, and they'll get a bonus point. If it doesn't stand out, it's just kind of standard.
that
So
makes
to me, I
sense.
don't like give ratings there. I was just like they're just part of it.
Right. I'd say the sound was fine in this. I mean, the opening's hype, but just the music throughout, it was, I mean, average. Like you said, like it was there. It did its job. There was a weird sound at the like one of the last episodes, like a weird song when there was a dramatic event happening. But other than that, it was fine. Like nothing negative. I can't point out anything negative. So
Yeah, exactly. Like that's how I'm like. It's hard to find negatives in sound
sound
almost.
and animation
That's why
kind
it's
of
a
get
bonus point.
yeah. Sound and animation kind of just get a participation grade if it's there
Exactly.
and does its job.
Because like, all right, we'll go ahead and jump into animation. Animation I thought was fine. I know some people didn't like the art style they took here and there. Art
Yeah,
style again is never a negative to me. It's like after I watch like an episode or something, I'm used to it.
the
Um,
CGI I feel like was hit or miss, but it wasn't like so dramatically bad. It wasn't like what's that Berserk 2017? How it's like super bad.
I don't know. I
But
haven't
it
seen it.
wasn't
So.
like wow, my eyes are burning because it's so awful. It's just like oh, I could tell it's CGI and that's it. But it was like it wasn't. It was something you could bear. It wasn't like crazy, so it was fine.
Yeah, I've yet to find like an animation I can't do. Like I always said about Soul Eater, I couldn't watch it because of this animation. Then I watched one episode and I was like, all right, I get it. I understand their art style and it no longer bothers me. And I was fine with it.
Oh, I'll
Same with
find
like
one.
the
I'll
Anime
find one.
Kingdom was probably like the weirdest one I've seen in animation style, and I got used to it. Um, so those are the main categories. The pacing was good. Go ahead and mention that.
Yeah, pacing.
Again, pacing to me doesn't get bonus points. It has a possibility of getting negative points
That makes
for when it
sense.
comes to me.
Pacing's a
But
big thing we talk about actually. One of the main things in our reviews. But
yes,
just you have to keep a consistent pace or the if you're slowing it down or speeding up something it has to make sense.
exactly. And they did a really good job with pacing.
Right.
Um,
I do see people say the ending was a bit rushed, but to me there
I
wasn't
kind
really
of disagree with that
to
actually.
me there wasn't really much else to do.
Yeah,
Like
there wasn't.
they
Like
had their
that was the
conflict.
epitome.
Uh,
Like you have this asteroid coming down. Like they only have one thing to do, really, in that situation,
right,
and
I
that's
didn't
to
really
do what
want to
they
see
did.
them fight over and over again. I think one fight was more than enough.
Exactly. Um, since this is a full series review of something that I take into account, we'll probably have a discussion eventually, like all the important things to us when we review. But for me, is rewatchability. To me, is actually a huge factor in rating if I love an anime or not. And to me, this isn't like too rewatchable, so it kind of hurts my overall score a little bit. Um, like if you look at my top tens, I've seen them all like 20 plus times, so
Jesus.
that's why it is a big factor to me. But yeah, so I think that does it for all the individual categories, and we're gonna go ahead and give our overall scores.
Let's do this. You want to start?
Yeah, sure. For me, it's an 8.5.
That
Uh, obviously we're not doing the my anime list, no halves, no decimals bullshit. But as we said, like the characters and the story were so well done. The emotions were all really just you would hit high points, you would hit low points, and as in low points, I mean like complete sadness, and other times you'd be like hyped and happy. Like nothing was more hyped than when Inuyashiki went in and just like basically saved those people from all the gangsters by murdering them. Or not murdering them, he blew out all their eyeballs.
he
But
paralyzed them for life.
paralyzed, might as well be murdering them. Uh, like we said, the sound animation were fine. Enjoyment, I enjoyed every fucking moment of this show. And you probably noticed when we were reviewing the episodes that we enjoyed it a lot. Obviously, enjoyment's probably the biggest factor that goes into a score. You're
Yeah.
obviously not gonna
I
like something if you don't enjoy it. So, but I enjoyed it, and so overall is at 8.5.
I mean, okay. I was gonna give it an 8.5. I need to start going first, so it looks like you're copying me instead of me copying you. This is rigged. But yeah, 8.5. Story good, characters good, sound fine, art style okay. Uh, the opening's hype as hell. I'm gonna be listening to it for a long time and just singing the same old lyrics. It was enjoyable. I think every week there was no week we didn't like an episode. There was no week that an episode felt boring. All episodes felt short because they were just exciting or they were like very absorbing or they just you're like, damn, this is enjoyable. How the hell is it over already? Like it's probably the shortest anime I've seen, 11 episodes. Because I mean, most short ones are 12, and it just decided to,
I've seen plenty of 11s, but
I think this is the first 11 I've seen, but it was just, yeah, it takes you on just a story. It just takes you on a ride. You follow these characters. Boom, bang, bing, dot, 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 and that's it.
bang. All right, so guess that does it.
That's it. Give it to us. Give it to us,
So,
Justin.
as always,
Spiel.
sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you want to know every time we upload. You'll get a little ding. Uh, Comment down below. Let us know what you thought about the show, what you didn't like. Let us know where we can improve on these. This is our first show review we've done. So there might have been a little rough parts here and here. Who knows? Just let us know what you think, what you would like to see, what show you would like us to review next as a whole. And as always, peace out.
See ya.